Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and it feels like doors open on their own? Why certain individuals, even without credentials, seem to move through life as if invisible forces are working in their favor? It is not charm, nor is it mere luck. It is the power of consciousness that is saturated with right words, right belief, and the living vibration of divine authority. Most people speak from memory, from fear, from habit. They affirm what they do not want and wonder why they continue to receive it. But if you understood the spiritual law behind your words, if you grasped the invisible mechanics of your speech, you would treat every sentence as a seed. You would guard your mouth like a sacred gate, because what you say with feeling, the subconscious mind accepts as true, and what it accepts, it expresses. That is the law of expression. What is impressed is expressed. Let that settle. The law of expression. What is impressed is expressed. Let that settle. Say it out loud if you must. Write it down. What is impressed is expressed. Your world is a mirror, and the mirror does not lie. It only reflects what is within you. Your dominant thoughts, your hidden assumptions, your repeated phrases, your quiet mutterings before bed, your self-talk in traffic, the tone you use when no one is listening. The subconscious mind hears it all. It records every whisper. It absorbs emotion. It does not distinguish between sarcasm and sincerity, between truth and delusion. It receives what is repeated and what is emotional. That is why 3 days is enough, not 3 years, not 30 years. 3 days of consecrated thought, 3 days of saying the right words with feeling, 3 days of alignment between tongue and truth. And if you hold that alignment for 3 days, the subconscious begins its mysterious work. The soil begins to respond to the seed. The world around you will begin to bend in your direction, not because you forced it, but because you finally aligned with it. Most people never make it past day 1. They declare a new affirmation in the morning, but by lunch they're back to muttering lack. They recite, "I am wealthy," and then complain about bills. They say, "I attract divine opportunity," and then curse delays. And the subconscious sees the contradiction. It detects the hypocrisy. It reads not only your words, but the energy behind them. It listens to the heart, not the mouth. That's why you must speak with conviction, not volume, but inner weight. You must feel the truth of your words as you say them. Because when the subconscious hears truth spoken with faith, it activates. That is the law of belief. Say it now. It is done unto me as I believe. Write it, inscribe it not only on a page, but on your emotional field. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual science. When you speak the right words, you are not begging some distant deity to intervene. You are activating a power already within you, a power that created the galaxies, the rivers, the stars. You are invoking the divine blueprint that already exists within your subconscious. You are telling the engine of creation what to build next. So when I tell you that certain words open doors, I do not speak metaphorically. I mean it literally. The right affirmation spoken with belief is a spiritual key. It unlocks patterns. It shifts atmospheres. It dissolves resistance not by fighting, but by radiating a higher frequency. That is why Jesus said, "Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and shall not doubt in his heart, it shall be done." The mountain is not just a challenge. The mountain is every belief that contradicts your divine identity. And your words are the sword that cuts through it. Begin to notice your language. Not just what you say to others, but what you say when you're alone. Do you speak from abundance or lack? From faith or fear? From vision or memory? The mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart, and the heart has been programmed by years of repetition. But in 3 days, with intention, you can reverse it. You can plant new seeds. You can change the narrative. Say this now: I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. Again, slowly: I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. You may feel a tremble in your body, a resistance in your gut. That is the old programming dying. Keep saying it. Keep feeling it. The subconscious doesn't care how long you've believed a lie. It only responds to the present emotion, to the dominant belief. And your new dominant belief begins now. Your words are not just vibrations in the air. They are commands to the invisible. You are not begging when you affirm. You are commanding, not from ego, but from spiritual authority. You are reminding the subconscious of its role. You are aligning the conscious and the subconscious so they move as one. This is the secret behind every miracle you've ever heard of. Not luck, not coincidence, alignment. harmonious union between what you speak and what you feel. When you say doors are opening for me, and feel it with expectancy, the divine mind orchestrates events, conversations, encounters, opportunities. What looks like chance is actually law in motion. What feels like a blessing is actually your own belief returned to you multiplied. So choose wisely what you say, because what you say is what you sow. There is a subtle war happening inside every person, the war between old identity and new vision, and the battlefield is your language. Every time you say I am, you are choosing a side. You are deciding what version of yourself gets to live today. I am tired. I am broke. I am unlucky. These are not casual complaints. They are destructive affirmations. They are permissions given to the subconscious to create more of the same. But when you say I am aligned with divine favor, something shifts. When you say I am worthy of wealth, health, and miracles, the gates begin to creak open. Speak as if it's already yours. Speak as if the answer is already within, because it is. The words you use today will show up tomorrow as your reality. Your language is prophecy. Your tongue is the pen that writes your destiny. And every syllable, every phrase is carving new grooves into the subconscious mind. So speak like you are sculpting your future. Speak like you are painting your masterpiece. Speak like heaven is listening, because it is. Let every sentence become an offering. Let every affirmation become a declaration of partnership between you and the infinite. You are not separate. You are not abandoned. You are not waiting. You are one with the source of all that is. And when you speak from that union, mountains move, seas part, doors swing wide. So for the next 3 days, let these words govern your life. Before you check your phone, say, I am guided by infinite intelligence. Before you worry about money, say, wealth flows to me in perfect order. Before you go to sleep, say, my subconscious is now at work opening doors I cannot see. Say it until it feels normal. Until it feels like breathing, until it feels like truth. The mind learns through repetition. The subconscious responds to emotion. Combine both, and you become unstoppable. Not because you forced the world to change, but because you finally stopped speaking against yourself. You finally aligned your voice with your vision. And if you forget everything else, remember this one thing. The law is always working. Not sometimes. Not when you're in a good mood. Always. So speak not according to what you see, but according to what you desire. Speak not as a beggar, but as a creator. Speak not to impress others, but to impress truth upon your soul. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. Say it out loud. Whisper it under your breath. Write it down. Let it soak in. Because once it's impressed, it will be expressed. You may not see the door yet, but that does not mean it isn't there. The subconscious works beneath the surface, rearranging patterns, shifting people, aligning opportunities, quietly, invisibly, obediently. The oak tree doesn't sprout the moment you plant the acorn, but the process begins instantly. So it is with spoken truth. The moment you affirm with belief, the seed is planted. But if you dig it up with doubt, fear, or impatience, you sabotage the entire process. You must leave the seed alone. You must trust the unseen. That is the law of mental growth. What you plant in the garden of the subconscious grows in silence, and it flowers in time. So speak it once, feel it deeply, and then trust the process. Say it now. My words are seeds, and I trust the divine soil. Again, slowly. My words are seeds, and I trust the divine soil. Let that phrase echo inside you. Let it anchor your next 3 days. This is not blind faith. It is scientific trust in divine law. You don't need to scream to be heard by the infinite. You don't need to manipulate, force, or chase. All you need is alignment. The right words spoken in the right tone with the right energy carry unimaginable power. You don't have to speak to a crowd. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You can whisper a single sentence in the stillness of your room, and the entire trajectory of your life can shift. Why? Because the subconscious mind is always listening, always responding, always building according to blueprint. You may be surrounded by closed doors right now, but if your inner speech changes, the outer must follow. What you see now is simply the harvest of what you've been saying unconsciously for years. But a new harvest begins the moment you plant a new word. Say this. My voice aligns with the pattern of divine success. Say it again. My voice aligns with the pattern of divine success. Some of you have been saying the wrong things for so long that truth feels foreign. You've been trained to expect delay, to fear lack, to brace for disappointment. But I am here to remind you that was programming. It was never your design. The law of subconscious acceptance states that whatever you repeat with emotion becomes your truth. But the beauty of this law is that it doesn't care how long you've repeated the wrong thing. It only responds to what is dominant now, and the dominant thought can shift in a moment. A new belief can override a lifetime of fear. A single phrase, when said with soul, can begin the unraveling of years of stagnation. That is the mercy of the subconscious. It gives you what you accept now, not what you regretted then. So forgive the old words, bury them, replace them. The law is neutral, the power is yours. What will you say today? You do not rise according to circumstance. You rise according to self-concept. And self-concept is nothing more than the story you rehearse. Every time you say, I can't, I'm not ready, I always fail, you deepen the trance. You build walls inside yourself. You send messages to your subconscious to limit, delay, and sabotage. But when you speak from divine identity, when you say, I am ready, I am guided, I am chosen, you break the trance. You dissolve the walls. You reprogram the very framework of your being. That's not wishful thinking. That's neurological, emotional, and spiritual fact. You are the product of your most repeated beliefs, and repetition begins with language. So choose your words as if they are sacred, because they are. Say this with me. I speak only that which I desire to live. Again, with breath. I speak only that which I desire to live. Many believe prayer is begging, but true prayer is declaration. True prayer is the agreement between the conscious and the subconscious, a merging of thought and feeling that opens a spiritual portal. When you say, divine order governs my steps, and you feel that order in your bones, you are praying. When you say, I am protected, provided for, and prepared, and your heart rests in that statement, you are praying. You are not just sending words upward. You are activating the divine circuit within. And that circuit never fails. It only waits for clarity. So stop begging. Stop pleading. Speak like one who is in covenant with the Creator. Speak like one who remembers their inheritance. The door you are waiting on is voice activated. It does not respond to fear. It responds to faith, to inner certainty, to calm authority. And your voice carries that key. There is an energy behind every phrase. Some words shrink your spirit. Others expand it. Some words darken the room. Others light it. That is why you must choose phrases that radiate. Phrases that energize. Phrases that echo eternity. When you say, I am aligned with divine provision, you are not just being poetic. You are sending a signal to the subconscious. You are writing a script for your future self to follow. You are issuing a command, and the inner machinery begins to move in accordance. Never underestimate the ripple effect of one right sentence. It may not change everything today, but it sets a vibration in motion. And once that vibration is sustained, the world will have no choice but to reflect it, because that's what it does. That's what it has always done. So speak as if reality bends to your words, because in time it does. Say this now. Divine right action opens every door I need. Again, slowly. Divine right action opens every door I need. Let it rest in your chest. Let it become the background music of your day. This is not about controlling life. This is about cooperating with divine order. You don't have to know how. You just have to say yes. And your yes is coded in your vocabulary. Your agreement is found in your speech. If you say, I never catch a break, life says, as you wish. If you say, nothing ever works out for me, life says, indeed. But if you say, every delay is divine preparation, life begins to stretch its hands toward you. Your world reflects not your hopes, but your words. So let the words be holy. Some will laugh. Some will doubt. Some will call it delusion. Let them. They are not building your reality. You are. And you will find, if you stay faithful for 3 days, that their mockery becomes irrelevant. Because the doors will begin to creak open. Opportunities will start to move toward you. You will be at the right place at the right time. Not because you chased, but because you chose. You chose a new language, a new identity, a new self-concept. The door is not locked. It's voice activated. And your voice is becoming sharper, clearer, more aligned with the divine pattern. Every sentence you speak now is moving energy. Every affirmation is shaking the walls of resistance. And soon, what was once impossible will become inevitable. And when you feel doubt creeping in, when fear tries to steal your focus, pause and remember the law is still working. It does not stop because of your emotion, but your emotion determines what it builds. So don't panic, don't spiral, just return to the phrase, return to the truth, speak again, Speak calmly, speak boldly, and the shift will return. Say it, I am in harmony with divine increase. One more time, I am in harmony with divine increase. These are not empty words. These are spiritual blueprints. Spoken consistently, they become bridges. Walk them, trust them, let them lead. You've planted the seed. Now guard the soil. Don't let negative talk, gossip, or complaint dig up what you've begun. This is sacred work. This is the rebuilding of your inner temple. Speak to yourself as a sovereign, as one who is done begging, as one who knows. 3 days. That's all it takes. 3 days of disciplined speech. 3 days of emotional agreement. And the subconscious will begin to shift. Doors will begin to open, not just around you, but within you. The old thoughts will lose power. The new path will become visible, because you spoke it into being, and it is so. The world around you is the echo of your inner decree. What you experience is not punishment or reward, but reflection. It is the mirror image of what you have continually told yourself was real. And most people are suffering not from lack, but from inaccurate speech. They use the words of limitation and wonder why they are surrounded by chains. But today I invite you to speak as if every word you say becomes law. I invite you to speak with the quiet confidence of one who knows that heaven and earth respond to sound. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. When you say all things are working together for my good, the gears of the unseen begin to turn. When you say I am magnetized to divine timing, the delays lose their sting. When you say the universe is conspiring for my increase, you activate a rhythm deeper than logic. So choose your rhythm, choose your sound. Speak in harmony with your highest self. The law of vibrational alignment does not respond to wishful thinking. It responds to dominant belief. And dominant belief is not formed in a single sentence. It is formed through repetition. This is why 3 days of right speech matters. Because within those 3 days you disrupt the old current, you disturb the old pattern. And if you hold the line long enough, the current reverses. Suddenly things that once repelled you begin to seek you. People who once overlooked you begin to notice. Doors that were once sealed begin to swing. Why? Because your frequency has changed. You no longer speak from need. You speak from embodiment. You no longer declare the absence of what you desire. You declare its arrival. You no longer cry for help. You affirm divine partnership. Say this now. Everything I desire is already moving toward me. One more time. Everything I desire is already moving toward me. Feel it, own it. Speak from the result, not the problem. Do not let the visible fool you. The visible is the past, the echo of your former state. What you see now is not prophecy, it is history. If you want to know your future, listen to what you are saying today. Your future is coded in your vocabulary. If you continue to say, I never catch a break, I'm stuck, I can't make it, then your future is sealed with those spells. Yes, spells. Because every word you speak casts a vibration, and every vibration attracts its own reflection. That's why you must cast new spells. You must speak the language of possibility. You must dare to utter phrases that feel foreign to the old self. This is how rebirth begins, not through external change, but internal speech. A new voice within you must rise, a voice that says, I was born for this. I am guided by infinite intelligence. Everything unfolds in divine timing. These are not affirmations, these are activations. If you knew who walked with you, you would speak differently. If you truly believed that the power that made the stars lives within your subconscious, you would stop begging for scraps. You would stop apologizing for your desires. You would stop announcing your fears. You would begin to speak like royalty, not out of pride, but out of awareness, divine awareness. And awareness begins with vocabulary. The subconscious doesn't understand intention. It understands direction. It listens to the tone of your speech, the pattern of your phrasing, the energy of your declarations, and it moves accordingly. So if you want doors to open, don't knock, declare, don't wait, speak. Don't plead, proclaim. Say it with me. I declare new doors are opening now. Again, I declare new doors are opening now. You've been trained to think that silence is humility, that wanting more is selfish, that asking for expansion is greed. But that's a lie from a limited world. The truth is this: expansion is your birthright. Increase is divine. Multiplication is natural. And the universe itself is a story of eternal growth. You are not here to shrink. You are not here to settle. You are here to speak life. You are here to command light. You are here to let the river of divine speech flow through you into manifestation. You are not a beggar. You are a bridge, a channel, a living expression of divine intelligence. And your words are the tools with which you shape the invisible into the visible. So shape wisely, shape intentionally, shape boldly. The law of correspondence reminds us, as within, so without. But we must go deeper. As within speech, so without experience. The inner phrase becomes the outer form. That is the secret. You do not fight your way into a new life. You speak your way into it. You declare it, dwell in it, breathe it, feel it, and let the subconscious replicate it in form. If you want love, speak love. If you want peace, speak peace. If you want opportunity, speak alignment. Let your vocabulary reflect where you are going, not where you've been. Most people curse their own path with the language of complaint. But you, starting now, will bless your path with the language of power. Say this: my words are the architects of my destiny. Again, my words are the architects of my destiny. Breathe that in. You don't have to see the whole path. You only have to speak the next sentence. You don't have to know how the door will open. You only have to say it's opening. The rest is none of your business. That's the subconscious's job. That's the divine's domain. Yours is to declare. Yours is to feel. Yours is to embody. Most people sabotage their miracles by trying to control the method. But method is not your concern. Method belongs to the infinite. You are not the builder. You are the blueprint designer. You write the vision. You speak the frequency. And then you let go. Not with passivity, but with trust. Not with laziness, but with reverence. And the doors will respond. Because the universe always responds to spiritual precision. Some of the greatest revolutions in your life will begin not with a breakthrough, but with a sentence, a whisper, a quiet affirmation that contradicts everything you've believed, a phrase that feels too big for your current self, but perfect for your future self. That's how transformation begins, with words that feel slightly too large, slightly too bold, slightly too holy. So don't wait until you feel ready to speak them. Speak them now. Speak them until they feel normal. Speak them until they become your new standard. Say this: I am the embodiment of divine success. One more time. I am the embodiment of divine success. Let the subconscious absorb that frequency. Let it rewrite the program. You are in the process of rewriting your code, and code is language. That's all the subconscious understands: language and feeling. It doesn't care about your logic. It doesn't need a strategy. It needs direction. Clear, repeated, emotional direction. So give it the words, give it the feeling, give it the new design, and let it build the rest. You don't have to climb every mountain. You just have to speak as if the mountain is already behind you. That is faith. That is power. That is the silent authority of the spiritually awakened. So speak now. Speak for your future self. Speak for the life that's calling you. Not in fear, not in doubt, but in boldness. With fire, with stillness, with certainty. I am the one doors open for. Say it. I am the one doors open for. Again, I am the one doors open for. 3 days, that's all. 3 days of fidelity to new speech. 3 days of loyalty to truth. And the world will not recognize you, because you will have spoken a new self into being. It begins the moment you stop waiting for evidence and start speaking from essence. The old self wants proof. It wants guarantees. It wants to see before it believes. But the spiritual self knows. Belief comes first, evidence follows. The law of mental equivalence states that the outer world reflects the inner image. If your words create the image, then your life must adjust itself to match. That is why every sentence you speak is either a tool or a trap, a blueprint or a blockade. And this is where most people miss their miracle. They wait to feel worthy before they speak power, but worthiness is not a requirement. Speech is the activator. When you say, I am chosen, you begin to act like it. When you say, I am surrounded by divine opportunities, you begin to see them. When you say, I live under divine favor, the veil lifts. Reality becomes soft, fluid, responsive. So speak, not because you feel ready, but because it is time. You cannot whisper defeat and expect to walk in victory. You cannot chant limitation and expect to receive abundance. The universe is not mocked. The subconscious is not confused. It delivers what is ordered. And your words are the order. You may have prayed for a new chapter, but if you continue to speak as the old character, nothing changes. You must become fluent in your next season. You must speak as if you are already there, not to pretend, not to perform, but to tune your energy. Every phrase you speak with belief tunes your frequency. Every repetition deepens the groove in your subconscious, and soon your actions follow. Your posture changes. Your choices evolve, because your speech has rewritten your identity. So let your words now be clean. Let them be aligned. Let them be soaked in vision, not memory. Say this: I speak from the future, I am creating. Again, I speak from the future, I am creating. You were not created to echo the noise of the world. You were designed to create through silence, through precision, through spiritual law. And speech is your paintbrush. Language is your wand. The conscious mind may think in logic, but the subconscious moves by image and feeling. That's why a single emotionally charged sentence is more powerful than 100 dry affirmations. Speak only what you mean, and mean what you speak. The subconscious knows when you're lying. It knows when you're desperate. It knows when you're doubting. But when it hears clarity, consistency, and emotion, it listens. It responds. It begins to orchestrate. The world starts to shift. Events realign. People appear. And doors swing, not by chance but by decree. So speak less, but speak with power. Say it now: my words are divine instructions, and life obeys. Again, my words are divine instructions, and life obeys. Every great leader, every mystic, every revolutionary used words with reverence. Jesus spoke to storms. Buddha spoke of stillness. Moses spoke to the rock. The voice has always been the medium of miracle, and yet we squander it on complaint, sarcasm, fear, and self-deprecation. That is why the average life is small, not because fate is cruel, but because the tongue is careless. If you were told that every word you speak today would become law tomorrow, would you still say what you said this morning? Would you still repeat the jokes, the doubts, the curses, or would you pause and speak like a master? The truth is, every word does become law. The only question is when. The only variable is how often you've spoken it. So from this moment, let your speech reflect mastery. Let it be laced with destiny. Speak like a sculptor, chipping away the excess to reveal the form within. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are simply in the process of awakening to your own voice. An awakening is not an event, it is a discipline. A 3-day discipline of consistent, aligned, emotionally rooted language. Nothing mystical, nothing esoteric, just decision, just rhythm, just repetition. You decide what you'll speak. You decide what you'll speak. You decide what you'll repeat. And the universe obeys. The subconscious obeys. The conditions bend. The resistance weakens, because the frequency has changed. Your words are now bathed in clarity. They are no longer polluted with contradiction. And that purity is power. That congruence is magnetism. That harmony is creation. Say it: my voice is pure. My path is clear. And my doors are open. Again, my voice is pure. My path is clear. And my doors are open. There is no room for doubt in divine decree. If you say it with reservation, the results will mirror your hesitation. But if you say it with inner calm, with emotional certainty, the subconscious will move heaven and earth to make it real. That is how miracles occur. Not through noise, but through precision. Not through pleading, but through partnership. The law of faith states it is done unto you as you believe. And belief is revealed not in theory, but in speech. So don't just ask what you believe. Listen to what you say. Your vocabulary will expose your theology. Your language will reveal your self-concept. And if your speech is filled with contradiction, your life will follow suit. But if your language is built on truth, conviction, and vision, your life becomes seamless, smooth, full of flow, full of alignment. Speak like the chosen one you already are. You've waited long enough. The days of silence are over. The days of minimizing yourself are finished. The days of hiding behind humble complaints must end. You have the power now, the awareness, the tools. So speak, not just once, but daily. Not just when you're confident, but especially when you're not. Let your new vocabulary rise before your emotions do. Let your truth speak before your doubt has a chance. And in that rhythm, in that practice, the doors will obey. Reality will begin to reorganize itself around your new commands. Not out of obligation, but out of divine law. Because law must respond. And your voice has just become law's instruction manual. There's a spiritual current that runs through this universe. A river of order, abundance, timing, and expansion. When you speak with faith, you jump into that current. You stop swimming against it. You become carried, lifted, aligned. And in that flow, things become easier. Not because the world changed, but because your speech no longer resisted what was trying to bless you. You stopped speaking against yourself. You stopped announcing your limitations. And you started announcing divine order. That is the shift. That is the work. That is the miracle. Say it. I am now flowing with divine order. One more time. I am now flowing with divine order. This is the era of self-authorship, of conscious construction, of spiritual sovereignty. The world no longer defines you. The past no longer speaks for you. Only you do. And the words you speak now are laying track. They are building roads toward the life you've glimpsed in vision, in prayer, in secret. Do not apologize for what you're speaking into being. Do not water it down for comfort. Do not soften it for approval. Speak it as it is. Speak it with fire. Speak it with reverence. Because what you speak today becomes your temple tomorrow. What you affirm now becomes your address later. The law is listening. The world is bending. The subconscious is building. All that's left is for you to speak. Some people speak and nothing moves. Others whisper and the room changes. Why? Because it's not the volume. It's not the words alone. It's the alignment behind them. The congruence. The emotional precision. The clarity of intention. You can say 100 affirmations with doubt, and nothing will shift. Or you can say one sentence with unwavering belief, and life will rearrange itself to obey. That is the law of emotional charge. The subconscious does not respond to empty repetition. It responds to repetition, soaked in feeling, to speech that is alive. That's why you must stop parroting words that don't move you. Stop repeating phrases that feel dry. Find the ones that light something in you, that make your chest rise, that make your spine straighten. Say this: everything I say with feeling becomes form. Say it again: everything I say with feeling becomes form. Let that live inside you. Most people are casual with their speech because they do not yet believe they are creators. They believe they are reactors, responders, victims of the outer world. But the moment you take ownership of your tongue, everything begins to change, because that is the first signal to the subconscious. The captain is awake, and when the captain is awake, the crew begins to work. The ship begins to move. That is why Jesus said, by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. Not because God is punishing or rewarding, but because law is neutral. What you say, you energize. What you energize, you attract. What you attract, you experience. This is not opinion. This is spiritual architecture. You are the architect, and your words are the structure. Say it now: I build only with truth, beauty, and power. Again: I build only with truth, beauty, and power. If you could see what your speech builds in the invisible, you would never again speak carelessly. You would not gossip. You would not complain. You would not casually agree with fear, or repeat the diagnosis, or laugh at your own lack. You would become precise, focused, honoring every syllable, because you would understand that every phrase is a prayer, every declaration is a design, and every joke, every doubt, every throwaway comment is received by the subconscious as a command. So let there be no throwaways. Let there be no contradiction. Let every word be forged in the fire of consciousness, because your world will become what your words have ordered. Speak slowly if you must, but speak rightly. Speak as if the angels are transcribing every sentence, because in a way, they are. To speak rightly, you must think rightly. And to think rightly, you must dwell in right images. The law of mental imagery tells us that the subconscious creates what is held vividly in the imagination and affirmed with the tongue. So pair your affirmations with mental pictures. If you say, I walk through open doors, see yourself walking confidently into a radiant space. If you say, money flows to me with ease, imagine yourself smiling as unexpected checks arrive, as opportunities unfold. Make it real in the mind, make it emotional, then speak it. That's how you impress it into the subconscious. And once impressed, it must be expressed. This is not visualization for fun. This is architecture for manifestation. Say it now. I see it, I feel it, I speak it, so it must be. Again, I see it, I feel it, I speak it, so it must be. There is no power in vague speech. You must be specific, not in controlling how it happens, but in defining what you allow. Don't say, I want to be successful. Say, I am now living in divine success that blesses everyone I touch. Don't say, I hope things get better. Say, everything is now working in perfect order for my highest good. Vague words build vague lives. Precise words build precise realities. The subconscious loves clarity. It thrives on instruction, and your clarity becomes its command. So speak in clear terms, in present tense, in emotional tone, not someday, now, not maybe. Yes, speak it like you already live inside it, because spiritually you do. Say it. My clarity is the magnet of my manifestation. Again, my clarity is the magnet of my manifestation. You are not speaking into the void. You are speaking into the matrix of divine intelligence that responds to conviction. And it is always listening, not to your wishes, but to your energy. Not to your scattered hopes, but to your dominant frequencies. And your dominant frequency is formed by repetition. So don't wait until it feels natural. Say it until it becomes natural. Don't wait until your reality matches. Say it until your reality obeys. Don't speak according to what you see. Speak according to what you're commanding. This is not delusion, this is design. And you are not just a recipient of life. You are a designer of it. By thought, by feeling, by language. Say it now. I am a deliberate creator through divine speech. One more time. I am a deliberate creator through divine speech. You've heard enough of what others believe. You've repeated their fears, their limits, their norms. But now it's time to hear yourself, to trust your own voice, to echo your own vision. And your vision will not sound like theirs. It will sound bold, radical, unrealistic. But that's because you're not building a copy, you're building a calling. You're not repeating tradition, you're initiating transformation. And every transformation begins with a word. Let there be is how creation started. It still starts that way. You must say, let there be wealth in my life. Let there be peace in my soul. Let there be clarity in my path. And then let the subconscious respond with, and it was so. Because it will be. Because it already is. Your words only confirm what has already been seeded in spirit. Say it. Let there be light in every corner of my life. Again, let there be light in every corner of my life. This is the language of the awakened, the disciplined, the spiritually self-governing. We do not speak from wounds. We speak from wisdom. We do not repeat pain. We declare peace. We do not echo what is. We prophesy what shall be. That is the difference. That is the secret. And it is available to all. To you. You don't need to be a scholar. You don't need to be perfect. You only need to begin. With intention. With reverence. With awareness that your voice is your wand. That your language is your ladder. That your tongue is your tool of liberation. Say it now. My voice sets me free. 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 My voice. This is the practice. Not grand rituals, not secret techniques. Just this, daily speech in alignment with divine truth. Quiet repetition said with holy conviction. Whispered prayers filled with emotional clarity. Sentences that become songs. Songs that become rhythm. Rhythm that becomes embodiment. And embodiment is the goal. To say it until you feel it. To feel it until you become it. To become it until you radiate it. And when you radiate it, the doors don't just open, they rush toward you. Because you've become the key. And the key was always in your mouth. If your voice was the only tool you had to change your life, how would you use it? Would you speak with reverence? Would you choose each word as if it were chiseling your future in stone? Because that's exactly what it's doing. The subconscious is a perfect servant, and it does not judge. It executes. It receives the blueprint from your dominant thoughts, your repeated phrases, and your emotionally charged affirmations. And then it goes to work quietly, without drama, without delay. This is the law of subconscious obedience. And it is always active, not just when you speak in ceremony, but when you're half awake brushing your teeth. Not just when you're praying, but when you're angry, worried, or joking about your own failure. The subconscious doesn't know you're joking. It hears, I always mess things up, and begins to prepare more situations for you to fumble. So be ruthless with your speech. Be disciplined with your declarations. Say this now. My voice speaks only what I choose to live. Say it again. My voice speaks only what I choose to live. There is a difference between speaking truth and speaking memory. Most people speak their memory and call it honesty. I've always been broke. Things never work out for me. People always leave. But that is not truth. That is repetition. That is history disguised as identity. And the more you say it, the more it becomes welded to your self-concept. But speech is also the scalpel that can cut those attachments. You can sever from the old timeline by simply refusing to speak its language. And you can graft yourself into the new one by speaking its vocabulary before you feel ready. That is the miracle of conscious speech. You do not need permission from the past to declare your future. You only need courage. You only need awareness. You only need to speak as if your voice has the power to override the patterns, and it does. You cannot live a new life with old language. The codes are different. The patterns are different. The tones, the phrasing, the tempo, they all belong to a new realm. You have to learn how to speak like the person who already lives there, the person who has already walked through the doors you're praying for. You must borrow their vocabulary until it becomes your own. And this is not pretending. This is remembering, because the soul already knows how to speak in abundance and wholeness and power. It's the mind that forgot, the tongue that was trained to fear, the mouth that was taught to beg. But now we unlearn, we return, we remember. Say it. I remember the language of power. One more time. I remember the language of power. It is not enough to say good things once. You must repeat them until they sink, until they soak, until they penetrate the subconscious and become the new command. This is not force. This is not obsession. This is resonance. You are rewiring your nervous system, retraining your focus, recalibrating your vibration, and each repetition deepens the groove. So don't worry if you feel nothing at first. Don't worry if it feels fake, awkward, unfamiliar. That's the old system reacting. That's the dying voice of the old self. Keep going. Keep saying it. Let the new speech dissolve the old architecture. Let it dismantle the scaffolding of fear. Let it wash over you like a river of light. This is baptism. This is reprogramming. This is rebirth by repetition. Some will call this silly. Some will mock you for speaking to yourself. Let them. The awakened speak differently. The sovereign walk alone before they are followed. And you are not here to be understood. You are here to be transformed. So bless the ones who laugh. Pray for the ones who doubt. But do not let their ignorance infect your speech. Guard your voice like a gate. Speak only what feeds your future. And if you must be silent, let it be sacred silence, not a void of fear, but a pause of power. There is strength in the unsaid. But when you do speak, let every word land like thunder in the soul. Say it now. I speak with the weight of eternity behind every word. Again, I speak with the weight of eternity behind every word. When the world offers you evidence of your past, speak your future anyway. When the bills pile up, say, I am one with divine provision. When you're alone, say, I radiate love and connection. When fear whispers in your ear, say, I am guided, protected, and unstoppable. Because you're not speaking what is, you're speaking what's becoming. And what's becoming is stronger than what has been. The law of assumption reminds us what you assume with conviction you will see, and assumption is carried by the voice. If you say, this is just the beginning, the subconscious nods and says, very well. If you say, everything is working in my favor, it begins to gather the proof. Your job is not to force. Your job is to speak and feel, to assume and release, to say and trust. You're not waiting for the door, you're becoming the one the door opens for. And how does that becoming happen? Through words, through daily, disciplined, divine speech, through choosing truth over fear, clarity over confusion, precision over noise. It may feel like nothing is changing, but listen closely. Your voice is no longer speaking from wounds. Your tone is no longer coated in doubt. You are standing taller, speaking slower, declaring deeper. And those changes, though subtle, are seismic. They shift timelines. They collapse delays. They summon opportunities. The world is catching up to the vibration you now speak from. So stay there. Stay faithful. Stay in the frequency. Let your affirmations be fewer, but fuller. Don't rush them. Let them ring in your bones. Say them like declarations etched into stone. Not because you're trying to convince, but because you already believe. Say this now. I am the fulfillment of divine speech. Again. I am the fulfillment of divine speech. Let that be your center. Let that be your compass. You don't need to know every step. You just need to speak the next sentence, and the path will reveal itself. These 3 days are not just about changing outcomes. They are about changing identity. An identity is spoken before it is seen. You must say, I am powerful, before you feel it. You must say, I am wealthy, before your bank reflects it. You must say, I am chosen, before anyone picks you. This is the price of creation. To speak in faith, to declare before the arrival, to act as if. And the moment you commit to that speech, the universe begins to respond. Not instantly, but inevitably. Not all at once, but undeniably, because the laws cannot fail. They only await your voice. So speak again. Speak as the artist of your own becoming. Speak as the gatekeeper of your destiny. Speak as the mouthpiece of divine imagination. Let your voice break curses, dismantle patterns, and call forth light. You don't have to know the how. You only have to know the phrase. And speak it. Every morning, every night, every time fear tries to take your tongue. Say it. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. And say it until the walls fall, until the doors swing, until the world recognizes what your spirit has known all along. You've now reached the threshold. The final stretch of these 3 days is not about adding more. It's about deepening what's already there. You've planted the seeds. You've spoken the truth. Now your task is to guard the soil, to keep it clean, to protect the vibration. This is the law of sustained focus. The subconscious is no longer neutral. It is primed. It is listening for your consistency. And what you do in the final hours determines whether the new reality solidifies or dissolves. Most people give up not because the law failed, but because they broke the rhythm. They spoke truth for 2 days and fear on the 3rd. They declared power in the morning and doubted it by night. But not you. You will hold the frequency. You will stay the course. You will finish the vow you made with your tongue. Say this now, I am unwavering in my truth. Again, I am unwavering in my truth. You are no longer just speaking affirmations. You are speaking identity. You are not trying to manifest something outside of you. You are revealing what's already within. The treasure is not ahead of you. It is inside. The words you repeated have been digging. Not out there, but in here. And what they've uncovered is something holy. A version of you that does not chase, does not beg, does not explain. A version that simply speaks and receives, commands and aligns. You are now entering the era of ease, not because life has gotten easier, but because you stopped resisting the laws that govern it. You've surrendered your struggle. You've replaced it with precision. You've replaced it with flow. Say it again. I live in the flow of divine order. Now listen closely, because this is where the old voice tries to return. It will tell you you're being unrealistic. It will remind you of evidence, of history, of statistics. It will seduce you with logic and lure you back into familiar suffering. But logic cannot override spiritual law. History cannot dictate destiny. You must remember, you are not here to replay the old life. You are here to create the new one. And creation begins with contradiction. You must contradict your fear. You must contradict your environment. You must contradict your timeline. This is the law of spiritual defiance. Not rebellion against others, but defiance against the lie that you are powerless. And your greatest weapon in this rebellion is your voice. Say it now. I contradict limitation with divine speech. The final day is sacred, because it completes the circuit. It tells the subconscious that you are serious, that this is not a trend, not a phase, but a new law of being. And once the subconscious is convinced, it becomes automatic. You no longer have to force the speech, it flows. You no longer have to remember what to say, it says itself through you. This is embodiment. This is the promise of discipline. What was once practice becomes nature. What was once effort becomes essence. And when that shift occurs, doors stop being symbolic. They start becoming literal. Emails arrive. People call. Chance meetings unfold. But they are not chance. They are echoes. Echoes of the words you planted with faith. The world you now live in is the child of your tongue. You do not need permission to speak powerfully. You do not need credentials to command reality. You do not need a perfect past to claim a divine future. All you need is a sentence, a belief, a tone of certainty. That is all it takes. The mind says you need a plan. Spirit says you need a word. And when the word is aligned, the plan unfolds itself. You are now living proof of this, because something in you has changed. Even if the world hasn't caught up yet, you feel it. Your tone is different. Your posture is different. Your expectation is different. You no longer walk like someone hoping to win. You walk like someone who already has. And that's because you've discovered the source of all change. The sacred speech of self-definition. The mouth that speaks as God speaks. The tongue that blesses its own future. The voice that moves mountains without shouting. That whispers into storms and watches them obey. This voice now lives in you. It has been resurrected, and you will not lose it again. Not because you're afraid, but because it has become you. Say it now. I have become the voice I used to seek. Again, I have become the voice I used to seek. From this day forward, every sentence you speak is a prayer. Every word is a gate. Every phrase is a key. You are no longer allowed to use your voice to curse yourself. You are no longer available for casual self-destruction. Your voice is expensive. Your speech is holy. Your language is destiny. Speak with reverence. Speak with rhythm. Speak with the stillness of one who knows. What I say, I become. What I affirm, I attract. What I bless multiplies. Let this be your vow. Let this be your frequency. Let this be your foundation. You've done it. You've rewritten the code. You've remembered the secret, and it was never hidden. It was always here in your mouth, in your spirit, in your breath. The power to open doors, not by force, not by strategy, but by alignment, by divine articulation, by sacred repetition. You didn't have to travel anywhere. You didn't have to wait for anyone. You just had to speak consistently, clearly, emotionally. And now the shift is irreversible. The path is open. The door is unlocked. The world will bend to your new tone. And as you walk through this door, remember the phrase that carried you here. Whisper it in the mornings. Sing it before bed. Let it be the soundtrack of your becoming. Let it be your banner, your breath, your armor, your invitation. Say it one final time. I am one with wealth and wisdom, free of fear and doubts. And let it echo through your home, your work, your relationships, your silence. Because once it is impressed, it will be expressed. Once it is spoken, it must be done.